Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Mezco 112 DC Christopher Reeves version of Superman. Today I'll be reviewing this figure in the following categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So this figure is creating a bit of an uproar. Some fans who received it feel like they're gypped, as it doesn't matches what Mezco initially solicited. So let's take a look at this figure to see if it's something worth getting or worth passing on. I actually want to show you how this opens up. The top looks like this. Inside the tin, Superman comes in a circular plastic enclosing such as this. So let's get him out of it. So for accessories, you get a decent offering. Superman comes with 9 hands that are in total, 2 on him which are fisted. So just want to zoom in a little bit to take a look at the hands. I think Mezco usually does pretty good work with the hands. Here you can see the line work. The one thing that I don't like is it's not easy to see the separation to where the fingernails would start. But you do have the line work continuing up. You receive kryptonite on a chain. For those of you who watched the original, or well, this version of the Superman movie, this is when Lex Luthor put this necklace around Superman's neck. Then you receive some kryptonite. This was in the Awful Part 3 that Richard Pryor was in. I think this made him sick or turned him into bad Superman. Then you receive 3 crystals. I think they're called something else aside from crystals, but I know that they plug into the Fortress of Solitude. Then we receive something unexpected. So Mezco solicited 2 head sculpts, but we actually received 3. I'll show you the third one, which is on the body. So this head sculpt here is the one that was getting a lot of pushback. It slightly resembles when he was flying out of space, but it is very goofy looking, and unless you're trying to create some comedy in your photography, I doubt most people will use this head sculpt. What I do like about it, however, you can see that the expression in the cheeks carries as the lines go throughout the cheeks and up until almost the brow. So that's something that I really like. Putting that one ahead, this is more of a neutral with a slightly smiling expression. The eyes look very good. The blue is painted very well. I like the pinkish of the lips, but I'm seeing something that looks like freckling pigmentation. I don't know, but I don't necessarily like it, as I don't remember Christopher Reeve's skin looking like this. Also, I really like the black hair as well, the S, or the curl, which is the S. And just propping this one up in front of the camera, this is probably my favorite head sculpt out of the 3, and I think that this is the new one. So you can actually see the cleft in the chin there. It's not huge, but it is there. And I really like this one. Almost forgot to mention that you do get a stand-in base, and then you do get this Fortress of Solitude, which looks very well. This is a great looking device. Not sure that I absolutely needed it, but it is cool to have. So for accessories, I do feel that we get a lot. Enough to where it could warrant a 10. However, I am deducting points. 1, we don't receive any heat vision, something that Superman used throughout the movie. Also, we don't receive any effects such as the cool breath that he used also in the movie. So for overall accessories, I'll be giving Superman an 8 out of 10. So for articulation, the head and neck joint is separate. So just using the neck, you're able to get, well, you're not able to get a lot of anything. Really not moving that much. So just, okay, there we go. So using the combination of the 2, Superman is able to look that much up without the head falling off. He's able to bury his chin down, does rotate. You get a great amount of pivot, and no shift back and forth. So with the arm, it actually goes way up more than I thought due to the fabric. I'm pretty sure that you can get it to rotate a full 360, but I don't want to stretch out this cloth, so I'm not. You do get an upper bicep cut. The elbows are, is that double? They're double jointed, bending in about that much. You do have rotation at the wrist, and the wrists are on a ball peg, so you can get them to go up and down or side to side. Moving next to the torso, there's an A and a B portion. So just using the upper portion, you're able to get Superman to move back barely any, forward much more. You do have upper rotation, also a good amount of pivot. Using the combination of two, Superman is able to crunch back way further, possibly even more than this, but I feel that the cloth is tightening, so I'm going to stop. He moves forward a great amount. You have some great pivot as well as rotation. So you also have rotation in the waist. The legs are able to almost a full 360. They're able to kick forward that far, backwards that far. You do get upper rotation. Next point of rotation, we're going to say it's at the boot. I'm not sure if the entire leg is turning or if it's just the boot, but anyway, you get rotation here. The foot is able to go down about that much, forward about that much. You get a weird turning rocker, and it barely turns out. Yeah, let's try this one. Yeah, it barely turns out. And the knee is double jointed, bending in very far. So for articulation, the head moves well, but for a flying character, I would like it to move back further. The torso moves phenomenally great, as well as the arms, and the legs are solid with the exception of the ankles. So for overall articulation, I'm going to give Superman an 8 out of 10. So for design, let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to raise the camera slightly so. Okay. So I think it's a lot easier looking at a human-based character and deciding if a toy represents that character than a character in a comic and trying to figure out if that toy matches that comic version. As in comics, just the shadowing, the interpretation from the artist, it is hard to pick one particular image and to match that to action figure. So it's simple or easy for me to look at this and say, for one, does this look like Christopher Reeves? And I'll start off by saying there is a huge likeness to Christopher Reeves. I don't think this looks exactly like him, but it is close. And I don't think it's an issue with the scope. It can be with the paint. Like perhaps putting this head sculpt in the hands of the right painter may really bring out that full look of Christopher Reeves, though I feel that it's very close. I also think with the suit, the colors of the suit are also accurate. The design of the S is very similar to the movie, if not exact. And if you turn it back, this is also accurate as well. The boots do appear a bit darker in the movie. I am not 100% sure if the two colors are so vastly different. And as you can see, these colors are different. Hopefully that's coming out well on the camera. I really love the version of yellow that they did. However, in my chest, there's cracking already with the yellow. I can definitely see some black. So I don't know what that's about. Now, some issues that I think individuals are having with this particular figure is that it's different from what Mezco has solicited, and that is not the first time that they've done that with a Superman figure. I think the costume that they showed was a bit tighter and a lot darker. Now, one thing here that I don't like is the stitching. And with the earlier Mezco figures, I feel that was a real problem, but they got so much better at it. But if you look at the stitching pretty closely, it is too noticeable. Not only is it so noticeable, if you look at this side, the stitching is a lot higher. You look at this side, it's a bit lower. And if you look at this side again, it is thicker than it is over here. And I feel that the stitching just appears to be noticeable throughout this figure. So I do want to pop on at least one of the three head sculpts that he comes with. So I'll go with the silly head sculpt, as to me, this one is the one that's way off. And yeah, I don't like this one really at all. I don't think I will ever display him with this unless I'm trying to do something funny. And I think the last part for the design, the cape is as it should be. It looked a bit flimsy in the movie, and it appears a bit flimsy here. So for design, I'm going to give this version of Superman a 7 out of 10. So is this Superman essential to your collection? I'm going to go out and say no, that it's not essential to your collection. There are so many versions of Superman throughout different toy lines. There are so many versions of Superman in the comic books that it's so hard to say which Superman is essential. Also, what I think is important is timing. When I was a kid, this is the Superman that I saw on the screen. So I remember Christopher Reeves as Superman. But now for kids, they remember Henry Cavill, if I said that name correctly. So for younger kids, this version of Superman may not be important at all. In addition, this is not the first version of Superman that Mezco offered. I think we have 4 offerings of Supermans. Yes, I know the others are not Christopher Reeves. Also, recently, Todd McFarlane has released several versions of Superman. So there's quite the picking. So I'm going to play this one safe and give a score that I typically don't like to give. I'm going to give this a 5 as far as being essential to your collection. So for functionality, let's start with the stand test. I have had no issue whatsoever giving Superman to stand, mainly because his feet are nearly flat. You can see the slight difference at the end of the hill. However, the foot is big enough to balance him very easy. So something in my videos that I haven't always been doing, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, is with the hands. So I'm going to run through very quickly just to show you what hands he comes with. Okay, so let's turn Superman around quickly. He does have one hand that does not have a matching pair, and it's this one. So we're going to plug that on. We're going to grab the green crystal, as that one is the easiest to see, and let's see how he holds this. So much better than I thought. I actually didn't think that he had a hand that would hold this properly. So very happy anytime that you have hands that's made to fit the accessories. So let's move that. So we get a piece of kryptonite, but Superman is not meant to hold this, so we won't worry about that. We will, however, put on this kryptonite chain. And that fits as it should. All right, so let's leave the crystal there for a moment. Let's look at the cape. The cape has a bendy wire only on the ends. So here, as well as here. I think having one maybe at this part would have been beneficial, but it's fine. All right, now with Superman, what's important is to see if he can basically fly. And that's about as much as you're able to get him to look forward without the head popping off. Okay, I lied. Yeah, that works. That works. And this is with minimal effort. I'm pretty sure if you take time to put him in a nice pose, this would look much better. So that works. So we're going to get rid of Superman for a moment. We're going to prop the Fortress of Solitude here. All right, so Mezco also packed in 3 batteries that has to be installed. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this compartment. Okay, so that was very easy to install. Now, let me be quick to say I thought my Solitude was broken as it wasn't lighting up. So you have 3 options. You have an off, an on switch. Then you also have a middle, and I'll show you what that middle is for. So with the 3 crystals that you have, and you have to place them in a certain way, not this point down, rather what looks like the peg point should go down in this compartment here. And once you do that, the Fortress of Solitude lights up, which is super cool and dope. And the moment you remove it, like so, it cuts off. There's also a switch that you can turn it to leave it on, and I'm going to show you that now. And I'm also going to turn down some of the lighting so you can get an idea of how bright it is. Okay, the lighting is down. I could get it a bit darker, but I think. So you can see most of the light comes from the bottom, but it does shine up through. And I think this thing really looks fantastic. It was an accessory originally that I thought was cool, but had like a, didn't really need it. Now that I have it and it's lit up, I'm very happy that I have it. Also, it takes 3 AAA batteries, so it should stay lit for quite some time. It would have been cool if it had a AC adapter so that you can just leave it plugged in continuously, but that is not a complaint as it is very easy to install these batteries, and I think that they should last for quite some time. So for functionality, this figure does some things extraordinarily well. The first thing that I want to talk about are the hands that it comes with. All Superman figures should come with punching hands as well as flying hands, and this one does. The fabric around the figure really doesn't restrict the movement of the body too much, so it moves particularly well, something I'm very happy with, something that we don't always see. Also like that the accessories that he comes with works with the hands that he has. Well, it's really just the crystals. And The Fortress of Solitude is a fantastic piece. I think the fact that it has a function to where you can insert that crystal and it lights up and you remove it and it doesn't is just really dope to include, and they didn't have to. Now, some of the shortcomings, and there aren't many, is simply for a flying character, I do want the head to be able to look back. So, in my opinion, with a flying character, the head should be about there, or they should just find a way to give us a head that's just done that way. Like it's a stationary head, but you can plug it in place. Also, with the ankles for a flying character, you would think that Superman wouldn't be flying with his feet that way, that they would be more extended, and this one doesn't do it. So for overall functionality, I'm going to give Superman an 8 out of 10. So for pricing, this Superman comes in at a whopping $125. That is not including the very expensive $15 from Mezco shipping plus taxes. So I'm going to round this figure out to about $150. So now is this figure worth the cost of admission? So first, let's see what he comes with. We get 3 head sculpts, and one was absolutely a surprise. Online, people had complaints with the grinning facial expression, and I admit it was a bit silly, so Mezco decided to throw in another head sculpt, which is a fantastic gesture. We get 9 hands in total, which are enough. We get a few pieces of kryptonite, which is cool. And then we get the crystals to go along with the Fortress of Solitude, which is also a nice piece. And I think most of the, perhaps, course of this particular figure came with that Fortress of Solitude. So let's take a look at some of the shortcomings, and there aren't many. Some of the stitch work is a bit sloppy, but looking at the overall costume, I feel that it is in tune with the version of the movie. And while this figure is not an exact representation of Christopher Reeves, I feel that it's good enough for a 6-inch action figure. Where Mezco has to lose some points is that they solicited one item and sold us another. And this isn't the first time that they've done that. They've done that recently with that PX variant Sovereign Batman or Supreme Batman. They've done it with the first version of Superman, to where we saw one costume and he arrived with something different. So I thought this figure was going to be worse than what it was due to all of the negative feedback online. But I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, it's not a bad figure at all. It's actually a good figure. So for pricing, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It is priced a bit too high, and I think that there should have been accessories included that are not included. That should give Superman an overall clip score of 43 out of 60. So now, is he a pass or a purchase? So I bought 2 of these figures. One to maybe fudge in my DC display, the other one to go off against Hawk. As one day, if we don't get a Lou Ferrigno Hawk, I'm just going to have to pay someone to do a custom head sculpt. So now, while I feel I don't need 2, I am happy that I have one, so this is a purchase. All right, so for scale, we may be here for a while. So here's the Mezco 112 Christopher Reeve Superman alongside the Mafex Hush. Let me see if I can get him to stand. All right, so there's these two together. Quite the difference. And let's just slide in the McFarlane Infected Superman. So they're not evenly side by side, as I have to lean the Hush version over the Mezco so that it doesn't fall. So here you see perspective, different sizes. Let's go with a larger character from McFarlane. Let's go with a smaller Mezco figure. Just threw in the Mezco Flash. And it looks like the Hush version of Superman and the Mezco Flash can work, though you see the huge difference with the size of their heads. Let's take out the Flash and let's throw in Green Lantern, John Stewart. And I think this body was too small for John Stewart. Hopefully we get another Green Lantern and I can just prop this head onto that. And the Hush Superman is quite taller than this Green Lantern. Let's throw in the Mezco Red Sun Superman, which in my opinion is the best 6-inch version of Superman that we have. And the Hush figure may be the same height. It sucks because the figure doesn't stand, so hold on. There we go. All right, let's move him, and I'm going to attempt to slide these over just a bit. All right, so here they are next to the Storm Collectibles Lobo. quite the difference in size. I think Lobo should be bigger than Superman, but maybe not that much bigger. Slide that out the way. Here he is next to here they are next to Storm Collectibles, Darkseid. Again, I don't like Darkseid that much bigger than Superman. Really quite the difference in scale. And my last comparison, and I'll do this a little bit separate, is the Storm Collectibles Doomsday.
Daddy.
Yes!
Where is that?
Sheesh!
Where is that?
So we'll start with the Christopher Reeves version first. I might as well move him completely out of the way, and we'll go with the Hush version next. Yes.
What is that?
So thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. I hope to see you during the next review.
What is that?
That's Doomsday.
Really?
Yes, really.
Sweet, that don't say?
That is Doomsday.
Really?
Really.